to Hillsborough County Jail, where they decided to hold the trial. They decided to hold the trial there. I believe one of the big reasons was, one of the prosecutors that they pulled in for this was an Iran-Contra prosecutor, and they wanted him there to oversee all that went on.
Well, because he had personal knowledge of it. Time for a quick break, folks. We'll be right back. Ted Gunderson, Intelligence Report. And we're back, folks. My guest today is Chip Tatum, 25-year deep cover veteran of the CIA. And so Chip, you decided to plead guilty. What were the exact charges you pled guilty to?
Title 18, Section 1007. Anyone who attempts in any way to give anything to the any type of information to the FDIC in an attempt to influence them or fails to provide information is guilty of this particular crime.
And what did they say you attempted to?
They say I failed to disclose ownership in all the companies that I had during a contract bid with the government.
And what was your contract bid with the government?
I was involved in a company that was doing management on a FDIC-owned asset. I had been approached in 1991 or 1992 by a man who came to me and said, "Hey, I'm a friend of Ollie North. Ollie said to come see you." And it was 1991, yeah. Ollie said to come see you, and maybe you want to get involved in this with me. And, you know, it sounded pretty good, so I got involved in it with him. But it ended up being a setup.
Well, of course it was a setup.
Yeah.
That was there, let's see, 1991?
Late 1991, yeah.
At that point, did you give an indication that you were going to be talking about these various activities?
No, but I had indicated that I was disgruntled since, and had been with the government, not the government, but with OSG since 1989. And however, in in January of 1992 is when I finally walked out of Black Ops, and that's basically where the I guess the setup began with this person. He ended up Bill was a retired lieutenant colonel from the United States Marine Corps, friend of Ollie North, and worked on his campaign.
So in other words, that was their insurance policy to discredit you.
That's correct. They had said
and your
that
insurance policy was to have these papers, the secret papers, scattered around different locations, which they still are.
Uh-huh.
And they knew this, so if they neutralized you, meaning if they killed you or suicided you, as I said on the show the other day, Arkansated you, which is the term they use in Arkansas, then, of course, these papers would be exposed and the documents would be available to the public. And here we go. Okay, now, you're exposing them now. I assume that you withheld some information.
A great deal of information. The only people I'm exposing now with direct evidence against of their crimes, which include violations of the RICO Act, are Mr. North, Mr. Barr, Don Gregg, several members of the Bush staff, including Mr. Bush, by the way. Those who are beyond that echelon in what I would call is and what you're calling the New World Order, what I call is in the Olympic cartel. I have not exposed, and I will protect that information, and I will protect them. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hope you hear it loud and clear.
Yeah.
What's the Olympic cartel?
It's a group of men who are working with Mr. Bush et al., who are overseeing everything. They're not working in just drugs. They're working in food. They're working in oil. They're working in anything that can control the world economy.
Wow, this is you talking about the Illuminati, or you talking about federal?
It's beyond. It's not federal. It's international. So
International Trilateral Commission, Bilderbergers, and all that.
That's who I'm talking about.
So you're going to protect them. Well, I think you have to do that to stay alive, and it's important that we go get the kingpins anyway. And you're doing a great job of that. You pled guilty with the understanding they wouldn't touch your wife as soon as you pled guilty, and then they went after your wife.
Well, I pled guilty with the understanding that at that point I would have a felony and I would be a non-credible witness. But then they turned around and said, "Okay, we're going to charge your wife with this." And that's when I said, "No, you aren't. If you want to dance, we can dance." They shipped me to Tampa. About 2 weeks after I got to Tampa, I was visited again by people from the Secret Service who said, "If you don't turn over those documents, we're going to charge you with treason. And let me explain to you what the charge of treason holds," they said. "You will be executed or you will spend your life in prison, and we'll make sure that you go to a maximum security facility where you will never see the light of day. I understand that Florence, Colorado is an underground facility.
Chip.
Yes.
What were the agents' names? Do you remember?
No, they didn't present anything to me in there.
Okay, keep going.
At the very least, you'll do life. At that point, I told them, well, let's dance. I'm not going to give you the documents. It is crazy for me to give you the documents. Let's dance. And so in lieu of giving them the documents that I'd received in Honduras, I published them.
Okay, very good. And it's time for a quick break, folks. We'll be right back. Ted Gunderson, Intelligence Report. And we're back. My guest today is Gene Chip Tatum, 25-year veteran, deep cover CIA, folks. Series of 6 interviews, 12 hours total, $49.95. Audio copy, call 800-205-6245. Don't miss these shows. Don't let them go over your head, and try and think about it a year from now. Oh, what did Chip Tatum say on the Gunderson Intelligence Report on such and such a date? Don't lose it. Get it, make copies, send it to your friends, educate, educate, educate. That's our only salvation right now. Chip, you published these documents, and where did you publish them?
I self-published them. I copyrighted them through the Library of Congress, and I sent a copy to the White House Library.
Well, isn't that wonderful? And what year was this that you did this?
That was done in 1996, and now that I'm out there, they're available to the public.
And you're also making these available to the public, right?
That's correct, in the Tatum Chronicles.
And you want to tell people how to get a hold of the Tatum Chronicles?
Sure. The Tatum Chronicles are available at 1-800-201-7892, 800-201-7892, extension 58. I would encourage you to get a copy of the Chronicles, make copies of the flight plans and the documents in the Chronicles. They show, beyond a shadow of a doubt, who was in charge of the cocaine cartels in Nicaragua and Honduras.
And you want to name those people now?
I don't mind at all. William J. Clinton, George Bush, Ollie North, Raymond Buddy Young, Jackson Stevens, Barry Seal, William Barr, Ramon Navarro, Amiram Nir, Manuel Noriega. That's a few of them.
Well, Noriega, that's interesting because we could spend a whole show on Noriega and how George Bush went down in 1989 and invaded the country in order to get his hands on one person. And by the way, folks, I have a video that's available. It's called the Panama Deception, and it's a must for you folks. You must buy this. It's an hour and 43 minutes long, and it costs $35. It's worth every bit of it. And Chip, I couldn't believe it. I sat down and watched this, and American soldiers took people out of the cars who were going from one part of the city to the other during the Panama invasion. These are family members. Put them face down on the ground and blew them away, shot them, killed them in cold blood. Not only that, but there were estimated probably 4,000 civilians were killed, and in order to cover that up, they put these people in mass graves. They've uncovered the Panamanians since the GIs have left, 1989. The Panamanians have uncovered mass grave after mass grave. They just rolled the bodies in and put dirt over top of them. This is American GIs, folks. These are U.S. troops. These are young kids who are being told by their Nazi leaders, and that's the only way I know how to put it, that to go out and kill, kill, kill. You've got to get this video. $35 to Ted Gunderson, P.O. Box 18,000-259, Las Vegas, Nevada. By the way, do you agree with me on the only reason he invaded Panama was, well, there's two reasons. Number one, get his hands on Noriega, who double-crossed him and was defiant, even though he was CIA trained and involved in the drug operation. And number two, to seize control of the Panama Canal. How do you feel about that?
Both of those are correct. However, the Noriega prevailed in that he wasn't executed as it was ordered. He was never supposed to come out of there alive.
Well, I know, because they couldn't find hm at first.
That's right.
And then the news media got on it, and when they did find him, there was too much publicity. There were too many Western press around. And by the way, that was controlled as far as the information being leaked or being given to the American media, the mainstream media. That was totally controlled by the U.S. government. And the people did not know, they had no idea what went on down there. And the invasion was supported by the New York Times, the L.A. Times, and the Wall Street Journal. Can you imagine? And this documentary that's available through my office, P.O. Box 18,000-259, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89109, $35. This documentation lays it on the line. It's a must for you people. Do you have any other thoughts on the Panamanian invasion and on Noriega?
Well, I know that on one particular occasion, and I have that chronicled in the Chronicles, in 1985 I made notes on the back of one of the pages of a flight plan of a conversation that took place in one of the Contra camps between Felix Rodriguez and Ollie North, talking about the problems with Noriega and the problems with SEAL. And at that time it was said that Mr. Bush would see that Noriega was taken care of, and that Jeb was going to work with the Colombians to see that SEAL was taken care of.
Jeb Bush.
That's correct.
And, of course, what happened to you? I'm going to let you tell what happened to Barry Seal. He was neutralized, as you say. I say he was murdered by the Colombian cartel, right?
That's correct. He was executed outside of a halfway house in
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge,
Louisiana.
Put there by a federal judge, U.S. federal judge.
That's right.
Knowing that he needed to go into the witness protection program.
That's right. It's called murder, folks, and we're talking about America's leaders, George Bush, Bill Clinton, the whole bunch, and now Congress votes to give our children away to the tune of 416 to 5. What's going on in Washington, D.C.? Our congressmen are being blackmailed through drugs and through sex, and what's happened is they've been set up through drugs and sex, and they have to vote the way they're told to vote.
Ted, you got a caller, Chuck, from Colorado?
Okay, Chuck, you on the line? Chuck.
How you doing this morning, gentlemen?
Good. How you doing, Chuck? You have a question?
Not bad. Mr. Tatum?
Yeah.
Rodriguez, Felix Rodriguez, was also Max Gomez, wasn't he?
That's correct. That was his AKA.
Right. And he met with George Bush quite often, I believe.
He was a confidant of Mr. Bush, along with Amiram Nir, a Mossad agent.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay. I heard, I believe, the Pope, the Vatican, at least, is also got contacts with the Mossad, the CIA, and the FBI, and the Secret Services, right?
I can't comment about that. I don't know.
Okay. All right. That's all I need to. That's all I want to ask. But I need to make a statement here. Everybody out there, if you can possibly get this tape series and anything on these two men, they don't know me, but I know the reputation. You need to do it. It's your future.
Chuck, hold the line. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I think is happening in the world today, and I really think I'm right. There's a three-way struggle to gain world control. We have the Western powers with the money and of course, our government behind it, the United States. We have Russia and China that are going to be working for a one-world government. And then I strongly suspect that there's a problem. The third party would be the Catholic Church. And that's just my opinion. I hope all you Catholics don't write in and say I'm full of it. But anyway, that's what I think. And the Catholic, and if I had my way, I think I'd rather have the Catholic Church win out than the other two. What do you think, Chip?
Well, there's no doubt about that. Years ago when the Iron Curtain fell, and when
we're going to talk about that. Okay,
today,
folks, we'll be right back. We're going to talk about the downfall of communism. And we're back. My guest today is Chip Tatum, 25-year veteran, deep cover CIA. Folks, call 1-800-205-6245. Order your 12-hour tape on my interview with Chip. $49.95. It's a must. Get it. Make copies. Get it out. Get it out to your friends. Chip, what about communism? I mean, I don't for 1 minute think that the communism in this world is dead. I personally think, and you can say I'm full of whatever, but I think that when Reagan went over and worked out a deal with the communists and they tore down the Berlin Wall, I think that's all part of the master plan toward one world government. What do you think? And I think that, unfortunately, they're taking away our children. They're taking away our guns. They have to do that in order to take over. And I just don't for 1 minute think that communism is dead. What do you think?
Well, let me say that from a military standpoint and intelligence standpoint, we look at it like, speaking of Russia as the bear rather than communism, is the bear is not dead, the bear is loose. Here we have all these nuclear weapons, biological weapons, that aren't being controlled by a single entity, whereas before, during the organized government of the USSR, at least someone had a finger on